is dangerous. My name is Paul Zimmerman, and I'm the moderator for today. We have I think an interesting group of speakers today, and I think I should just briefly introduce who's here today. He is, of course, Benny Chias. Some of you guys know Benny quite well. He's the founder of the Fringe Club, the Hong Kong Festival, the Fringe Festival, and the City Festival. He's also produced numerous dance, theatre, and multimedia productions. He's curated many exhibitions. Now, I know Benny for a very long time. I've been here for a long time, yes. So it's Benny. Next to Benny's Henry Steiner, who is a graphic designer and one of the world's leading brand identity design consultancies here in Hong Kong. Again, I also know Henry very well because for some time I actually meddled in the graphic design field and I had to learn a lot from Henry. Loman Lok, where are you? Okay, Loman Lok is in the background there. He's coming in. He's a conceptual artist. He's also the anchor for an RTHK television program called Cultural Magazine. Now I've asked Loman Lok has quite a lot of video material, so Loman Lok will start off when we all go for coffee, because he will put it on video and we'll have coffee, and they'll speak after the coffee break. Mirana is a professor in comparative literature at Hong Kong U and an activist. I've known Mirana over the last 5 years extremely. I got to know her extremely well as we got involved in Star Ferry, and our latest activity was the Express Rail. And I think that Mirana lost more sleep over it than I did, I'm not sure. I was working on the questions inside Let's Go, and she was outside with the protesters on the street. So Mirana has that background. Tony Lam is an architect. I know his partner, Vincent, who introduced me and said, so Tony is a much more polite person than I am. So, and unfortunately, Oscar called me this morning, Oscar Ho, who's an artist and a curator. He has left me his PowerPoint presentation, but he said, I can't speak, I'm sick, and apologise to the audience that I can't come. But here is the PowerPoint, and he gave me his written notes, and he's asked me to read it out to you while I present his PowerPoint. So I've promised that I will do that, but I don't think I can ever give it the same colour as Oscar would have given it. Well, you've all kind of seen the introduction, and really the question that I want to ask, and it's a question for all of you. This is a participatory discussion, although you sit over there, we sit over here. It looks a bit, but I hope we're going to have a discussion, because what we believe is happening is that Hong Kong is changing dramatically. And of course, everybody says, well, you know, we had a handover in '97. But that was not just a handover. We believe that that handover was a significant change in demographics. Before '97, you know, there was a 16,000 applications every year at the police to get you no conviction record, so you could get your visa, and you get a visa to go and live somewhere else. I mean, people came to Hong Kong to leave Hong Kong. And '97 was a major change. After '97, that was over. I mean, the no conviction record office at the police office, that they almost closed down because nobody's asking for these no conviction records anymore. People are no longer leaving. What's happening actually, many Chinese people are coming back to Hong Kong, and they find this the better place to live in China. So there's a very significant change, a very dramatic change in demographics. The second change that we believe is a very big change is a change in social values in Hong Kong. I've been here 25 years, and people used to spit in front of my shoes up till March 2003. And ever since October 2003, nobody spits in the streets. The whole fear of death over SARS that really paralyzed this city really dramatically changed people's views about life and about the care for the environment. And I think it was a profound change in Hong Kong in its attitude. That's at least how, as someone who's lived here for a long time, experienced it. And I think it is a dramatic change in how people do things. So again, it was a shock to the system, and it's only a very recent shock to the system. And then there is of course, that people have more time. Only in 2006 did government decide that there was not going to be work anymore on Saturday. Although I drove in this morning and saw a lot of working trucks on the road, and as Hong Kong is very industrious, a lot of people do work on Saturday. I mean, we are here at 10 o'clock in the morning. But it's not making work, but we're busy. We're doing things. But people suddenly had, until, people had only one holiday. And that was Sunday for shopping with families and dinner with families. So, and then Sunday they had Saturday off. That was a day of nothing. And this additional time of leisure is going to increase even further in Hong Kong because we have an aging population. Today, 1 out of 8 people in Hong Kong are over 65, and in 2030 it's 1 out of 4. Those are people that have 7 days a week leisure time. So the demand for the space outside our home, I think, is going to change dramatically in Hong Kong. And I'm not sure that we're all ready for that change, or that the city is ready for that change. And I'm not sure that we know what that change is, what that all implies. But I believe that some of the things that are happening lately in the discussions about urban design and urban planning have to probably come back to that trend. So the question today to all of you and to the panel is, what's the future going to look like? And are there things that we should be concerned about, that we should look at, that we need to care about, that we need to preempt or get active about, that we should say, guys, we have to be careful because if we don't do this, we're going to have problems. So is there a takeout from this meeting maybe at the end of the day? And I'll have a whiteboard and you can always write things down about things that we think should be done. As an activist organization, we always believe in that. I'm going to switch to slides now. And I do this very quickly, and Oren Thatcher is an architect and he's sitting next door. And I got his permission that I can use his slides, although I made a small change to it. And basically, I thought this slide was actually a very good one, but he put the presentation together. Hong Kong accessibility, mobility, and that comes down to ultimately the street level. It's all business and no pleasure. So it's very, very, very handy in Hong Kong to get from point A to point B. It's efficient, it's safe, it's comfortable, it's cheap. We all know our infrastructure, it's fantastic, it works, you get everywhere quickly. But Hong Kong kind of does very well is how to get to that infrastructure. So, I just started studying transport planning, and the transport planners in Hong Kong say Hong Kong is a very walkable city. And I stuck up my hand and said, sorry, I don't think so. And they said, yes, it is, because everybody can get to 7-Eleven and to school and to the NTR just from their bed. Most of them don't even have to go outdoors. So accessibility by transport planners is really, they think that Hong Kong is an extremely walkable city, and I said it's not. And then I got stuck because I couldn't explain it otherwise. But it's transport is everywhere, and it's all very well connected. But what we do really badly, and I think that Oren catches that really well, is the pleasure of getting there. How nice is it to be out in the streets? How comfortable is it to go somewhere? And this is, of course, here in Central, where for at least 10 years we had these sidewalks at 2 different levels, and it's still looking grubby. We caught behind fences, and then where we have a lot of space, then there is nobody there. We have 2 sidewalks that are basically fairly useless because who would ever go here? And these walkways that are basically part of that super connectivity, they are basically transport systems. They're not very nice places to go and hang around. Mean and cheap. And where these facilities and the connectivities are inside commercial buildings, and then you use them to get to your transport, it's highly commercialized.